Hello, and welcome to Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. I'm Gloria.
And I'm Rosetta. Hi, everyone.
Hi, 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 hi. Thank you so much for joining us. Whether this is the first time or you're coming back for more love, we welcome you, welcome you, welcome you. We always like to set the tone a little bit before we get started. We like to do our talks in the spirit of kindness, and we always like to listen to one another. We learn something new all the time. So be open and listen and come with us on this journey.
Thank you, Gloria. And we're going to start talking about our teas that we're drinking. But remember, if you are new to the channel, please stay till the end because we'd love it. And we like to start by talking about the teas that we like to chat to. And my tea that I'm drinking today is called Dandelion Dark Roast, and it's by a company called Teeccino roasted herbal tea, and it's a dandelion dark roast organic. And it says it is caffeine free, gluten free. And let me see what the ingredients here are: roasted organic carob, organic chicory, organic dandelion root, organic Raymond seed, organic natural coffee flavor. And this is what it looks like. Dandelion tea. So you can do your research because dandelion is very, very healthy for you. And I've had it seeping for a little bit. It looks really dark, like almost black, but it's not as strong as it looks. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers. And then, Gloria, you can tell us what you're drinking too.
I'm drinking, let's see if there we go, sweet and spicy. It's one of our favorites. It's Good Earth. We used to have a restaurant called Good Earth, and you could walk down the streets and that smell would waft. Go, I have to go have some tea. The ingredients are organic rooibos. Everything's organic. Cinnamon, chicory root, rose hip, lemongrass, natural flavors, chamomile, cassia oil, peppermint, orange oil, ginger root, honey bush, and orange peel. All of that makes up this wonderful, wonderful flavor. So, cheers.
Very good. Cheers.
All right. So, like I said, we always like to send our prayers out to the universe. We have to learn how to love one another and how to be compassionate with one another. So, come with us on this journey as we focus on love and compassion. So, today is National Chocolate Covered Nut Day. I particularly like chocolate, well, dark chocolate covered almonds. I've never been a sweet person, and I've all of a sudden fallen in love with dark chocolate because it's not sweet. And I love chocolate covered nuts.
Yummy. I love dark chocolate as well. And as you know, it's very healthy for you. So nuts are great because it gives it, I like that crunch. I like anything that has crunch, even in my ice cream. Very good. And not only is it chocolate covered nut day, it is also clam chowder day. And I'm sure you've
Mm.
all heard about clam chowder. But clam chowder is known as other ways of making it, not just clam chowder. There are different variations, and some of them would be the basic, obviously, knows clam chowder. There's New England clam chowder, Manhattan clam chowder, Rhode Island clam chowder, Delaware clam chowder, New Jersey clam chowder, Long Island clam chowder. They're all known to have their own clam chowders. And this is what they have in their region. So today, celebrate clam chowder by eating the style that you like. All right, we also have birthdays today. And today's birthday goes to two people in particular that you know of. Number one is Chelsea Handler, the comedian, and also George Harrison. You may not know him, as famous as Chelsea Handler. But if you do know the band, the little band called the Beatles, everybody knows the
The
Beatles,
little
right?
band.
The little band. called The Beatles from Liverpool, and he was the lead guitarist of the Beatles. So that's the birthdays.
Nice.
Yeah.
We would also like to acknowledge the passing of two gentlemen. I'm going to talk about the first one. His name is Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall passed away this week at the young age of 95. He was an amazing actor. He starred in movies like Apocalypse Now in 1979. And my fave is he was in Godfather 1 and Godfather Part 2, which came out in 1972 and 1974. And his portrayal as the legal right hand of Don Corleone, known as Al Pacino, was amazing. He was an amazing, amazing entity, and his spirit will be missed.
Yes, it will be. Rest in peace. And we also have the sad passing of Eric Dane. Now, Eric Dane, we've talked about a few times in the recent past. And for those of you that don't know, he was most famously known for his role in ER as McSteamy.
Grey's Anatomy as
Sorry,
McSteamy. Yeah.
not ER, it's one of those. It's Grey's Anatomy, McSteamy. I got that right.
Yes.
And we had talked about him in the recent past, the towards the end of last year, and it was very sad because we found out that he was diagnosed with a very bad disease called ALS. And
Yes.
he was interviewed by Diane Sawyer, and he was talking about his progression and how what this ALS is actually causing different issues within his body, how his brain doesn't really function the same as his body. The brain function is detached from his functions of his
Mhm.
body. But it's very sad because he
Yeah.
passed away. And did you know that Johnny Depp did allow him to live in his LA home to ease the financial burdens during his ALS battle? So we don't know for how long, but the last part of his life is when Johnny Depp opened up his house. So rest in peace,
Yeah.
Eric Danes. And he
Yes.
actually passed away very, very young.
Yes. Very, very young. Okay. Let's talk Olympics.
Yay! So we had two very, very fun and eventful weeks of the Olympics in Milano, Cortino, Italy. And
Yes.
for some reason, this Olympics hit different for me this year because I felt that I was watching it more and I really enjoyed the skating portion of the Olympics the best. And
Yes.
also next was the honorary judge was Snoop Dogg, and I really
Snoop.
enjoyed his partnership with Martha Stewart, which I really loved. So I did a bit of research, and I want to talk about the women in the ice. Actually, it's the ice skating USA team. Did you know that there were three world champions that came to the Olympics within our USA team? Now, the team consisted of Alyssa Liu, Amber Glenn, Ilya Madin, the quad god. Then we had Isabel Lavito. And then we have the couples, Madison Clark and Evan Bates. This was
Yes.
such an amazing, really strong team, and everybody got along with everyone, which I loved. And at the end, I'd never seen this before in the Olympics, but there was an ice skating exhibition gala, which I had no idea about. So I never watched the actual thing live, only watched replays of each ice skater performing. And what I loved is
Right.
because our team was so big, the Olympics actually focused a lot on the USA team, which was amazing. Now, if you didn't know about this, like I didn't know about this, did you know about this, Gloria?
No, because I would have watched it. I would have figured out when it was going to occur and at least recorded it so I could watch it. I knew
Yeah.
nothing about it until I saw the recap.
Yeah, and I loved it because it really showed them in their full splendor and their magnificence and just the camaraderie together and their um what is it called? They're just so professional and technically
Yeah.
they're amazing. And when they come together, it was really great that just to see them supporting each other.
Yeah, I think this was the first time that we've had people in direct competition with each other, supporting each other the way this Olympian team did. It was
Exactly.
pretty awesome.
Exactly, exactly. Which is why going into the Olympics, we knew that this team was going to be very different from the past. Because it wasn't for about like, it's been many, many, probably I would say at least 20 years where we've had um, ice skaters on the podium winning medals. Back in the days, we had Dorothy Hamill, we had Christiane
Yes.
Gucci, we had some others, Nancy Kerrigan, some other skaters, but it's been a while since we've had a really strong team. So that led me to do some research on the women in the ice, not in, sorry, the women in the Olympics this year, this season. And I did just mainly the women that won the gold. So we have number one, we have the women's ice hockey team. They won
Yes.
for us. Yes, love.
Yes.
Then we have Alyssa Liu, who won gold for ice skating. We have Becky Johnson. She won one for the alpine skiing downhill. Then we have Elizabeth Lemley. She won for the freestyle skiing women's magules. Now, you may not know what that is, but that's a freestyle on a steep, bumpy course, and it stresses technical turns, maneuvers, and speed. So that's three things that I can't even imagine doing, especially when it's on the snow. Then
Yes.
we have Ilana Taylor, and she won for the Manor Bob. Then we have Michaela Schiffern. She won for the alpine skiing slalom. That's when they go zigzagging
Hmm.
down the slopes. And then we have a number of women that won for the bobsleigh, and those are the women who won gold. Very, very impressive. Do you have anything else to say about the Olympics, Gloria?
Um, the closing ceremonies were beautiful. The color, the jester for me was the main character, how the jester just kept popping up and flying and doing all kinds of different things. The final moments was an experience, I think, that united the athletes, the spectators, and the territories under the banners of sports. I think that what we saw, they actually transcended from just I am from USA, I am from Italy. They became more synergized together. So that was beautiful. I like how when they turned the flame of the Winter Olympics off, they flipped it. We saw Kate Hudson singing California Dreaming. It was just so wonderful about everything that's planned and everything that's going to occur in 2028 right here in California where we live. We're up north, it's going to be down south, but there will be events up here. It's going to be a glorious occasion. So I was pretty excited about that. I love the fact that at the end, let's see, Norway was in first place. They got 41 medals. The United States had 33, Italy had 30, Germany had 26, and Japan had 24, just to highlight the top five. I thought it was just beautiful. I thought it was great. Looking forward
And
to
I
the
want to
next one.
mention one other thing, even though Great Britain did not win a lot of medals, what I can say is they won three gold and they had a total of five medals. At least they won something and they got three gold, which is really
Yes, I thought that was
good.
beautiful too.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
and I really liked the one Italian singer who came out with her guitar and she sung the famous Italian song Il Mondo, which means the world. And it was really, really good because she sung it to a sequence of hope and respect for the environment in a journey with different forms of water and a source of life. So I really like
Yes.
that because Gloria and I always talk about global warming, the environment, and how what we can do to protect our amazing, amazing environment. So I loved that. And
Yeah.
if you have not heard the song Il Mondo, go ahead and Google it or YouTube it because it is just an amazing song. And I actually found a version that they put the Italian and they also put the English translation underneath it. So look it
Nice.
up and then you'll understand what the lyrics are about because it's a really famous all-time favorite Italian song.
Nice. I think that's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So, as you all know, Rosetta and I are always looking for healthy alternatives. And as a health coach, Rosetta is always telling me that there's nothing more powerful than good, natural, organic foods. Foods that nourish the body is what we all need to focus on. Well, there's a TV show called 60 Minutes, and what 60 Minutes did is they discuss this concept that's called GRAS, GRAS, which means generally recognized as safe products. Generally recognized as safe. This actually goes back to what 1958, I think, was the first time that they started the work on classifying foods. As we watched the 60-minute program, a lot of things shifted. So Rosetta and I are going to kind of go back and forth and talk about this. So Rosetta.
Yeah, so basically, what this generalization was, I'm just going to do a little overview, was talking about Robert, sorry, RFK Jr. He was talking about how American obesity and a lot of chronic diseases stem from ultra processed foods. And it went back and forth between RFK and also a doctor by the name of Dr. Kessler. Now, a lot of people know that Dr. Kessler and RFK have not been in unison with like the vaccines and everything like that. But with this ultra processed foods within America that's been coming more and more prevalent, among health conscious people now, Dr. Klesser said, with the backing of RFK, Robert Jr., if he actually goes through and supports that, then then he will actually support RFK in this instance. Now, yes, what Gloria said is generally recognized as acceptable food. Um, it's kind of scary because Americans, we actually recognize acceptable food, which is very different from what the Europeans actually recognize as acceptable. And did you know that ultra processed foods today make up 50% of our calories and 60%, get this, 60% of our children's diets? Can you believe
Yes,
that?
scary. Scary.
It says it's just crazy. Just think, let that sink in. And over the last
Yeah.
40 years, the US has been exposed to something that our biology, our biological bodies have never really been able to handle. So,
Yeah.
why do you think that all of a sudden we're getting all these chronic diseases? More and more people are being diagnosed with a chronic disease. Now, if you don't know what chronic disease is everything a doctor can diagnose you for: cancer,
Right.
heart disease, autoimmune disease, obesity, diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yes,
Mhm.
diabetes. What else can they be diagnosed for?
Pre-diabetes,
Pre-diabetes.
hypertension,
Yes.
abnormal lipids, fatty liver disease. Our kidneys are impacted. I mean, it goes through the entire body.
Yeah. And we've known this for many, many years, but it's only come to light now, which is kind of like weird because a lot of people have known this for many, many years, but it has to do with like now it's coming to the forefront because of JFK Jr. And he's saying that all these things are coming to light because manufacturers are putting really bad ingredients into our foods. And these ingredients are called ultra processed foods. They alter our metabolism and they increase our rate of risk of future disease. Now, back in the days, many, many years ago, decades and decades ago, we didn't really have a lot of issues like this. But over time, manufacturers have been able to get away with ingredients that hasn't really been scrutinized that much, even though they say these companies say that they have been using ingredients that have been FDA approved. Uh, I don't know if they're really that safe because in Europe, what happens is these ingredients they know that there could be a risk for future increase in chronic disease. So the Europeans actually stay away from them. They actually don't put them in their products. Whereas the Americans are very different. They will put them in their products until someone gets sick or comes up with some disease. Then they decide they want to do something. So Americans are more about being reactive whereas the Europeans are more proactive. And last
Yes.
month, JFK did come out with a new dietary guide for Americans. The first time it's advised against highly processed foods. And we know, well, me and Gloria, we've been talking about that all the
Mhm.
time. Read your ingredients. A lot of it is junk and they are highly processed, ultra processed ingredients. I'm going to turn it back over
Yes.
to Gloria.
So RFK Jr. is the current Health and Human Services Secretary. So Dr. David Kessler, the person we were talking about, back in the day, he actually went before um, I think it was with Congress, but he had all of the tobacco companies come in. And
Mm.
what they did is they had to talk about what tobacco was doing to the American public. And that's how we got the warning labels on the cigarette packages, and people had to be held accountable. He says that what's going on with our food supply today is equally as bad as what was going on back then with tobacco. He said that European foods supply has about 400 ingredients. The United States food supply has between 4,000 and 10,000 ingredients. And he said that's a guesstimate. So RFK Jr. said that we have no idea what a safe food source is. We have so much ultra processed ingredients that we can't say, you know, sweet potato pie is good because you don't know what is in it. Do they use honey or do they use another better sweetener or do they use high fructose corn syrup? This is what we're talking about. So, based on just knowing that, do you realize back in the day, I would say maybe maybe 8 years ago, you never heard of a child having type 2 diabetes. You're hearing it now because 60% of their diet has these ultra processed foods in them. So even though mom and dad, you might think it's really cool, we can just hop over here and pick up something and let the kids eat. We have to get back to knowing what's in the food. What are the final ingredients? Dr. David said that if you read an ingredient and you don't know what it is, it's not food. Food is simple, ketchup, tomato, vinegar, maybe a little salt and pepper. When you put partially hydrated oil or cottonseed oil or anything like that, you have now altered that from being a safe food. So here in San Francisco, our city attorney, David Chu, has filed a complaint for violation of California unfair competition law and public nuisance against Heinz, Mandalay International Inc., Post Holdings, Post Cereal, Mandalay International Incorporated, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, General Mills, Kellogg's, Mars Incorporated, and there are more because their products are highly addictive and they know it. They know the ingredients are not good for the citizens. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I just think it's very interesting that that's what's being looked at today. So, on one hand, our government subsidizes corn and soy. So, you think corn on the cob, corn is good. That's not the corn that is in our foods. Soy, that's not the soybeans that are in our food lines. So, these two items are throughout our food source, and they result in high health care. What are we all always concerned about? The cost of going to see a doctor. So on one hand, you're saying this is safe, FDA, safe, 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 you can have it. And on the other hand, it's like, I don't know what's wrong with you. You're sick, you're dying. Some way, somehow, we have to figure this, we have to figure this out because our children are now getting sick. So Dr. David said if RFK Jr. wants to collaborate on cleaning up our food source, he's all in.
Yeah, I love that. And what those companies that Gloria was talking about, they're actually called the Consumer Health Association brands. And
Yes,
it's a collective of all those different companies. I'm sure there's more, but I can't remember exactly what they all are. And they're one of the largest trade groups representing the food industry. And it was just asked, Robert Kennedy was asked on 60 Minutes, um, why would they believe you? Kind of thing, like in
right.
regards to the vaccine, because he had issues with the vaccine. A lot of people didn't. So he said, when we have the president behind us, then something will happen. And they asked, why would they support regulating ultra processed foods? uh, I was wondering what he would say. And he came back with something like he wants to make sure that consumers understand what they're getting, inform the public. So basically,
Yes,
he wants to inform the public of things that they may or may not know. I mean, a lot of people know this already, but you'd be surprised how many people are being misled by all the big brand companies and manufacturers thinking that these
yes,
foods, there's nothing wrong with these foods, which is why it's we're seeing more and more every year and every decade, more and more children getting sick earlier on and being diagnosed
yes,
with different health issues. And even when kids are born, sometimes they just have like ear infections. They're getting sick and nobody really knows why. Why is also included in those diagnoses is also something called ADHD, ADD, anything on the autism spectrum, whether it's mild, medium, or advanced stages. These are all things associated with nutrition and what we're putting in our children's bodies. So that's a huge thing, not only for the adults, but I always say, let's start with the families. Get the
yes,
parents knowledgeable so that when we have, as adults, we decide we want to start preparing to have children, how can we be healthy so that we can get our kids to be healthy? So that's a thing that is excites me a lot because as a holistic health practitioner, I'm so excited to see where the next stages of this will go, and I'm backing Robert Jr. because I want something to be done. There has to be.
yes,
I mean, the American Standard Diet is sad. American Standard Diet stands for SAD, 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 sad.
yes, yes, that's true. Okay,
All
let's talk
right.
about Savannah.
Yes. So we're going to go on to some updates that we have of Savannah Guthrie and her mother. And we know that they have been looking for the mother for a very, very long time. And I actually found a video very interesting from from a lady in the law industry, and her name is Nancy Grace. I'm sure you've heard of her. Back in the day, she used to do like report on a lot of stories, mysteries that couldn't be resolved, and like the Scott Peterson case. And she's actually gone into depth with this Nancy Guthrie case. And I'm just going to go over a little bit because there are some things that have been overlooked. And there's been evidence to say, well, let's go back. Now we have an over $2,000 reward for the findings or to bring into custody anyone that knows
Don't
or
you mean the family offered $1 million, not 2,000?
200, sorry, $200 million. $200 million. And
Really? I'd only heard of 1 million by Savannah and the family.
well, I thought that somewhat that the FBI had done 1 million and then someone else had matched it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. 2 million. You're
It,
saying 200 million. I know it's not 200 million. It's 2 million.
Well, let me go back into doing some research
Okay.
because I did say in my last story, but there's also been so many scientific advances, and there's been so many tips that people have called in on, but none of them have panned out. But some
Right.
evidence has come alight that of an accomplice that has been overlooked. And the
Mm,
reason why they're thinking there's an accomplice is because do you remember the doorbell camera?
yes.
They showed the man with a backpack and a ski mask or balaclava. Well, over to
Yes.
his left shoulder, when they did some more digging into, there seemed to be a light coming from his left shoulder. And this light was looks like a rectangular cell phone light. And what was
Hey.
interesting is that it wasn't from this person in the ski mask or balaclava. It wasn't coming from maybe his arm or something that was on his arm because it was stationary. But this person that had this balaclava was moving around, but this light was stationary. So there's something they have to look into that because they're not sure, it could be that there is another they're thinking there is another perpetrator and they have to look into that, which is interesting because they did show the video of that light and I'm like, yeah, they're right, there is something. And it doesn't correspond with the movements of the porch guy. So it's someone that's staying away from the cameras but has the light shining so the porch guy can do his business. And then they're saying that from the cell phone, you can track, you can still get tracking even though the cell phone may not be on. So the other guy who had the light on shining for the porch guy, even though he could have turned off his Wi-Fi, you can still track from the cellular or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So you can still track that. Then they have video showing that the porch guy had a jacket on, and there was a little bit in his pocket showing off the antenna of a walkie-talkie. So
Wow.
so they're thinking that maybe the porch guy and the other person that was with him were talking to each other from this walkie-talkie, and they're looking into that to see where they got all these things from. Now, we have someone here, the porch guy, who is someone who is shopped for a walkie-talkie. He has a backpack, a Walmart polyester holster, which is not typically used for semi-automatics. He must have got a ski mask or balaclava and gloves. So there's all these
Okay.
things that they are looking for, and they're still trying to find. I mean, it's really sad because we didn't get any audio because they had turned off the audio. But it's
Right.
sad because we don't see much of the person's face, so we can't really get a good look. And you know, normally, you'd be able to see some part of the face. All you see is
Right.
the eyes
Yes, something.
and the mouth. But it's been really, really hard, and it's been so long. But all these things, if they could find this accomplice or figure out about this accomplice, something could come to light. But what's really sad is that Savannah went on and did her last ditch effort to say that whoever has or knows where she is, it's never too late, and you're not lost or alone, and it is never too late to do the right thing, and we are here. We believe, and we believe in the essential goodness that every human being, it's never too late. So she keeps saying it's never too late, and she looks really, really sad and dejected, and I just feel for her. So
Yeah.
I hope there's some more good news that's going to come of this because it's been 3 weeks and we're
Yes.
hoping and praying that something happens. But normally we know that as time goes by, it doesn't look too hopeful.
Right. Okay. Well, we had more things to say, but we got to go so we can do our ending. We want you to know that we're grateful you stayed with us to the end. We love sharing information. If, apparently, because we're in California and they were in Tucson, Arizona, we're close. So if you see something, say something. We want you to know that we feel the love. We're grateful for your participation and we send it back to you, bubbling over.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much. And we love your support. If you liked our chats, please think of hitting the thumb icon, subscribe to our channel to help our algorithm and to do more chats, and hit that, I say ring, but hit that bell notification so that you're the first to be notified when our chats are ready to be viewed. And thank you so much again. We are Silicon Valley Girls Chat over tea. Here are our teas.
And
And
remember
remember to
to
always
always
keep
keep
smiling.
smiling.
Take care. Bye bye.